What is going on, everyone? It is good to be back for season 3 of So I Did a Thing. It's been a little over a month, right at a month, no, a little over a month since I've been live, and I've missed it. So it's good to be back. Thank you all for joining me. I appreciate it. Wendy Mose is in the building. I have not talked to Wendy in a long time, so it is good to see you, friend. Thanks for showing up. Who else is here? Sandra Wilson is here. David Cause is here. Summer Applegate is here. John Ballard from Carrollton, Texas, just a couple hours away from me, is here. Man, I've had a lot going on. I'm super excited. Hey, Enrique. Y'all have heard me talking about my boot camp that I have coming up. It starts tomorrow. I'm not advertising it. It's shut down. Like, you can't sign up anymore. But I had 8 people and I was shooting for 10. So I'm pretty excited about that. I've got new merch designs coming hopefully this week. Dana has been sick. So I hadn't been able to get her on the phone to nail it down. But I've got some new merch designs coming. They're going to be more than just my logo. It'll have some. Anyway, I'm not going to spoil it. I'll wait till it releases to tell y'all more about it. But anyway, what else? I think that's it. So my guest tonight, super cool chick, man. Like, we connected through Ariel Lee. She referred me to her for some copywriting, and we chatted. I ended up not using her for copywriting, but we became friends. I subscribed to her email list, which you really need to do, by the way. Seriously, like, it's I look forward to it every Monday morning. So we're going to put the link up here in a little bit and you can go do it, but go subscribe to her email list. But she's recently made the switch from, or not really a switch, but kind of shifted into it, from copywriting into a personal brand coach. And honestly, y'all, personal brand coaches are a dime a dozen on LinkedIn. They're everywhere. Everybody claims to be the expert. Everybody claims their way is the best way. But the stuff Juliet talks about is like showing up as yourself, not some twisted up, made up, fake version of yourself. So it's super refreshing, and I'm going to quit talking and bring her out. So Juliet.
Hello. I feel
Hi.
like I'm joining Monster Jam after that like amazing intro video with all the hype and the things to like bring. Like, I'm ready to sit down and I guess I'm in the show, but be part of the show. And your people that are commenting are like so here, and I love it. I feel like I'm making new best friends. And I'm just so proud to be known as like the copywriter you didn't use, but whose emails you still read. Like, I feel like this is some type of like the one that got away, but I'm on your mind or whatever. So
yeah, exactly. Really what it was is I was in the baby, I'm still in the baby phases, and my budget was not where it needed to be. I was like super bad wanting to work with you, but it didn't work out. But anyway.
Okay. You know, I write emails. So someday when you need like a really long sales email sequence, and then you don't want to do that, then I'll step in and we'll work together.
Yeah. absolutely. And one day, whenever I upgrade my site, I will need another copywriter. So
There you go. Perfect.
yeah.
Awesome. I'm going to hold you to that. He said it here live.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
said it here
Everybody heard
live.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So going back to the music is real quick. It's funny you mentioned it. I just had a post idea on like what my pre-show ritual is and how I kind of prepare and get my mind in the game and all that kind of stuff. Um, Part of it is I have to have something kind of rocking for my intro because I need that minute to minute and a half of right before I'm on to like psych myself up.
Yeah. To be honest, I have vitamins in my office that I never take. And today, like right before the show, I was like, I'm gonna take my vitamins, like get jacked for the show. And I know it's just vitamins and they're probably not making any difference, but mentally I did something to get pumped to be here. So yeah, I'm probably gonna do that forever now. It's gonna be my weird like pre-podcast, pre-live stream vitamin fix.
Well, we better hope you get invited to be on a podcast once a day.
I know. Yeah, that's true. That's how I need to set my goals.
Yeah, exactly. Let me say hi to some folks real quick. Lisa Marie is here. Thanks for dropping in. Enrique, Rob Ruposki. I hope I'm saying your name right, bro. Dusty Rose, Kelsey Lips is in the house. Thank y'all for coming. Who did I just click on? Tanya Bugby. Yeah, man. Yeah, headbang. I don't do headbanging. I just don't do headbanging. So wherever you want us to be, Enrique. That's why it's magical. All right. So tell us about Juliet. Like, how did you get into copywriting? So let's talk about the copywriting first, kind of shift into the personal brand coaching, how you got into that, and then we'll go off on tangents. Or we may go off on tangents before we get to the personal brand stuff.
Yes. Yeah. Please feel free to interrupt me at any time because I will tell you the full story because it's very non-linear. And I feel like a lot of people kind of like bullet point their stories into things. And I don't want to leave out the details. Like I want to give you all of the long story.
I like this. Like, I like that. It's interesting.
Yes. Yeah. So I weirdly had a complicated relationship with English class because I did not care about any of the grammar stuff. But once we got to the writing part, I found like in high school when they're like, oh, start writing stuff. And that's part of your English class assignments. It came pretty easy to me and I enjoyed it. And I mean, I was like, okay at school, I was fine at school, but I just felt a different sense of like feedback and excitement in those projects. And I felt like I could kind of compile things like at the end of the year when I had like a set of poems or a set of essays or whatever, I felt like I had something that I tangibly did that I was really proud of. And I liked that because I wasn't artistic as in like being good at drawing or anything like that. So it was really cool for writing to be a creative thing, but it wasn't quite as obvious as maybe like the kid who's the amazing drawing person or whatever. Right. So my enjoyment of it started then. And then when I went to college, I decided to do like what I thought was the smart practical thing. And I got a degree in journalism. And then I learned that I did not want to be a news anchor like all of my colleagues did. Like, it's so funny to me that like the 19-year-olds that I was in class with were wearing like skirt suits for the news. And that's so strange to me now. But anyway, they were all like, you know, gunning to be news anchors. And I don't know. I liked the like intellectual or important thought process behind journalism, but I really just wanted to like have a talk show or like be chill or do something with writing or do something fun.
Right.
And so we had one class on copywriting, but it was radio and TV focused. Like all of my like classes were radio and TV focused. So we learned how to like be radio hosts and like how to like produce TV shows. And how to like mix all the sound and like edit the videos. Like we learned a million different skills to be able to put on like our weekly little college news show and stuff. But in the copywriting class, we got to choose like whatever campaign we wanted to do. And it was basically like just make a set of commercials that's going to sell something. And so me and whoever I was grouped up with in the project, we decided to do a campaign on like our local zoo. And we had like each commercial was like a different animal, like talking to the kids to make them like want to come to the zoo. I don't know. It was really fun. And it was the first time that I was like, oh my gosh, I can use like a creative writing thing in a business way that's short. Cause like I didn't want to be a novelist or anything. That was my thing with creative writing. I'm like, creative writing's fun, but I don't want to write a novel. So what am I
Right.
supposed to do with this?
Right.
So I really enjoyed that class, and I researched copywriting because that was one of the things we had to do for like our senior class was like how would we want to go into the workforce? Like what were some jobs that we actually wanted to do? So I made this whole presentation on copywriting and how I wanted to be a copywriter. Um, and then I got out of college and I got jobs that were marketing focused because I didn't keep any of my college like writing, and I really should have because I thought that the degree was like the check mark that like you're supposed to have to get the job that you want. Whereas in a creative space, people just want to see your work.
Right.
And so I should have kept my work, but I didn't. And so I went into the workforce looking for marketing jobs. And every marketing job I got at the beginning was kind of like marketing slash receptionist. And so they were for small businesses where, you know, you wear multiple hats, but there's not really room for growth and there's not like a marketing department. So I didn't have like a marketing manager to like show me the ropes. It was just kind of like, hey, you're young, you can answer the phone and like do some social media, or you can like write a couple posts for us. Like it wasn't as immersive as I was looking for. And so every year or so, I would try to send my resume to an agency again, and they'd be like, "Do you have a portfolio?" And I would be like, "No, but I have the degree." And I would switch jobs every year, and I would get something like a little bit better as far as marketing was concerned, but it was still always like marketing slash admin. So I did that for a few years, and then I got a job. Oh, and also I will say I have been on LinkedIn ever since I was in college. And so I've been headhunted like to death. And every time a recruiter would reach out and be like, I have a job for you, I'd be like, it's destiny. Like I would always take the call. I'd always, you know, like consider the opportunity, but I really had way too much of a like destiny mindset, thinking that just because it was offered to me, I should go for it, whatever. So I eventually got this job as an executive assistant, and it was for a really awesome company. It was great pay. I was like, forget creativity. Who needs that? This
Right.
is like such a great step for my career. Um, and I really enjoyed working there, like as far as the company and the culture and the people that I worked with, and they did lots of really cool stuff. But what I was responsible for at my desk just wasn't a good fit for me, which I wish that that was more of an open conversation in corporate America,
Hmm.
because especially when you're younger, you're just so eager to do a really, really good job.
Hmm.
And the advice is like, you know, just do a good job. And then like eventually you'll get what you want, or eventually you'll get the promotion you want, or whatever. And I probably stayed there a little too long just for where my skill set would have been used as well. Um, and I don't know, I just also felt like I was at a point where like I didn't want to leave jobs every 2 years. Like I wanted
Right.
some stability. Um, so I did that, and then I just decided that I still wanted to write some way somehow. So way back in the day, it's probably not that long ago, but it feels like years ago for me. LinkedIn had that article feature, and that was new at the time.
Hmm.
So I started writing articles, which was very disconcerting. Like I wanted to put myself out there, but when you're also like employed, it feels very strange to kind of like start putting your voice out there when you're
Hmm.
still working for somebody.
Hmm.
Um, but I was just like, whatever, I'm gonna do it anyway. So I would write these articles. I did one about like all of the sharks on Shark Tank because I loved that show, and just
Yeah. Yeah.
other stuff like that. And people responded to it really well. And that was really helpful for me. But it was still very sporadic. Like I would do it, you know, maybe 2 or 3 times a year, and I didn't get in it into any consistent habit. Um, and then I hit a wall again, and I think I probably had sent my resume to an agency, and they were like, "You do not have writing experience." And I was like, "Okay, fine." So and like my LinkedIn articles, you know, weren't enough to show how I could like um, write for different companies and stuff. I see
Hmm.
I have a question. So let
You
me
do have
read
a
that one and I'll
question.
probably answer it in my next one. Okay. How did I
Yeah.
get the jobs without a portfolio? All job descriptions say I have strict portfolio requirement and they need email sales letters and whatnot. Yes. Okay. So this is the part of the story where I decide to create my own portfolio, because I was realizing like, okay, my resume is not getting me anywhere.
Hmm.
I need to show people that I can write, and plus, I just want to do it. Like, I want to start growing that muscle. So, one step before that, though, is that I had some feedback during my time as an executive assistant that I wasn't really like presenting at that executive level, which was 100% true. And at the time, I was
Hmm.
like, well, the guys are wearing like V-neck t-shirts and bands, and nobody cares what they're wearing. Like, I was very sassy about it. But they were really nice in the feedback too, and they were like, look at like, you don't want to wear black suits every day, then fine, but like establish a personal brand. Like, that was the advice that they gave me, was establish a personal brand. So I read a book called Reinventing You by Dory Clark, which is not the book that in hindsight they would have wanted me to read, because her book was all about like enjoying, like establishing your personal brand over what you like and what you want. And that helped me kind of put those two things together of like wanting to write and also wanting to look like a writer turned into like my personal brand that scooched me out of corporate America.
Hmm.
Um, so what I did, and this is also advice from Dory Clark in her book Reinventing You, is like talk to the people that have the job that you think that you want, and then like ask them how they got there. And that was a game changer for me, because I had never talked to any writers and asked them about what they did. So I started writing, or I started reaching out to people on LinkedIn who were copywriters, either like at agencies, or if they were freelance, or if they were like a digital marketing specialist. Because I was like, what is
Hmm.
that? And so I asked them their stories, and they all said like build a portfolio. And I was like, but how do I do that? Like, and they said like just write. You can write like about something you're interested in. You can write a blog. You can pitch to companies and like write stuff that they need for free. Like, there's a million ways you can do it. Just like find a way to write. So I decided to go the blog route, and I live in Greenville, South Carolina. We're very gorgeous and we're very much growing. And I'm not the first, I wasn't the first person to decide to start a blog about Greenville, but I kind of made my own blog about Greenville, and I would go to like restaurants, and I would kind of talk about the experience in the food. I would go to the boutiques and like have that fashion angle and talk about shopping small, and all of that. And that kind of gave me like my own place to start writing about things. Um, and then COVID happened, which is like those words that everybody says that really kind of accelerated a lot of people, it accelerated like that pivoting moment. And so when COVID happened, a lot of people were saying like, well, these small businesses are still spreading dirt germs, even though they're doing curbside pickup. And I was like, I don't agree with that. And there were also a lot of places that would just have like a list of all of these businesses that were doing like curbside pickup or like 15% off. And I'm like, this is not interesting to just have a long list of discounts. Like, at this point, we know everyone's doing it.
Right.
So I decided to do a campaign called, and this was so fun to get back into like the campaign mindset. I did a campaign called Faces of Small Business, and I asked a lot of the small businesses, like, send me a picture of your family, tell me why you started your business and why it's important for you to stay open, and then like whatever your discount is. And when I did that, it like took off. Like, it was so amazing to see just the community support, and for
Yes, you
everybody like
put a
wanting to
face
see that.
to the logo and
Yeah,
the sign and the storefront.
yeah, yeah.
I
And
love
so
it.
that kind of, yeah, that did bring a little bit of that like journalistic side to things, but
Hmm.
it was just really exciting to see people so much more interested and excited in like
Hmm.
the people, behind the small business, rather than me being like, I bought a purse. Like, it just was really cool how that took off. And
Right.
just meanwhile, I guess being in a job where like admin wasn't a fit for me, it was really exciting and validating to feel like I was really good at something again. And so I did that, and then the blog kind of evolved a couple times. Like, later in the year, I did Faces of Black Business, and I just kind of kept it going. But on the side of that, like, since I had started putting my writing out there, people were asking for freelance work. And so I picked up freelancing. My very first project was like a newsletter for a real estate agent, and I did a million things after that. But I picked up freelance clients. Then I actually got the full-time marketing job and was like, "Oh my goodness, I have made it. We're finally doing marketing. This is awesome."
Right.
Like, this is the part of the story that like we finally got it right or whatever. Um, And then I stayed there for a year, and I was doing freelance writing 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. and then going into my full-time job 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And in that marketing job, I loved it. It was awesome. I was responsible for so much, but I was also responsible for so much because I was doing like the social media and the graphics and the blogs and the emails and all of those things. And that was really a lot for one person to do.
Yeah.
And so I don't have the blog anymore, Marcelina. It was called Greenville Enthusiast when I had it, but since I moved into copywriting, I just couldn't keep doing both because it was just all the writing all the time. And it was not, I don't think it was on YouTube. I maybe had something on there. If you look at my old LinkedIn articles, they're not any good, but you're welcome to search and find them. But I have a full website of plenty of things that you can read if you want to find it. And I'm getting close to my like leaving corporate America part. So I stayed at that marketing job for a year, and I just like hit the wall of burnout of trying to do all the things. And I just kind of got to the point where I had the decision to make where I had a friend ask me like, well, how much money are you making freelancing? And I hadn't really calculated it. I just was doing it and excited that people were paying me to write. And once I calculated it, I realized I was making comparatively like more money in 10 hours a week freelancing than I was at my 40-hour a week job. And so I started saving up a little bit just in case it completely didn't work out, but not a lot. Like I kind of just decided to take the leap. Like I realized I can either keep sitting and hoping that corporate America, works and keeps like building on this trajectory, or I can do what I've already created like with my own hands, and I can do that. So that was June of 2021, and it's been about a year and a half, and I'm still doing this thing, and it's been awesome. And I've learned a whole lot along the way. But anyway, that was the very, very, very long story of how I got into copywriting.
That is no, I love it.
It
So
was very long.
yeah, very long, but I love that that you were working with a marketing agency in your
Yeah.
copywriting. Did that have anything to do with you making the shift into personal branding, or did you already see like the need for your personal brand? And I think you mentioned something about it when you first started talking.
Yeah.
So tell us
So
about
yeah.
that. So tell us kind of about, you've gotten out of corporate, full-time copywriter.
Yeah.
What made you decide to go from that, or to add that, I guess, to your repertoire?
Yes,
Because you still do copywriting. You didn't just say,
I
okay,
do.
screw that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, the copywriting is still a very foundational part of the personal branding for me. And I think most personal branding experts have some type of other background that is kind of behind their work, like whether it's a photographer that's focusing on personal branding or a social media expert that coaches on personal branding. Like I think there's a lot of different ones. Navroop, how did I price my services? Lots of trial and error. And I
Yeah.
will just say, if anybody wants to know a lot of the freelance questions in detail, if we connect on LinkedIn, I'm happy to set up like a one-on-one call, and like you can ask me all the questions,
Yeah.
and I can get real deep there. But
And let me
okay, so
let me
copywriting.
just kind of back up what you said real quick about trial and error. When you're starting out, you're going to change your prices 137 times
Yes, yeah,
because you feel like you're too high, then you feel like you're too low, then it's like, no, I am worth, you know what I'm saying? You're going
hmm
to go back and forth. So um,
yes,
that's all I
and it's
can tell you
hard.
to just play with it.
Yeah, and it's hard too because when you ask, like, pricing can just be different for so many reasons, and when you
Hmm.
ask in a big group, you'll get everything from like, I charge 1 cent per word to like, no, you should charge $100 per word. Like it doesn't, there's a million different ways. So it's
Yeah.
really just trial and error once you really figure
Yep.
it out. Um, but so finding my niche, and this is something that somebody in the comments mentioned. Um,
Yeah.
I think it was through finding my niche in copywriting that helped me realize how much personal branding is already part of what I've been doing, because I prefer to work like one-on-one with somebody who is the face of their brand or the face of their business.
Hmm.
I tried to work for like bigger corporations. I've tried to do B2B. I tried to do some like tech stuff. I've written kind of in the finance space, but like with people who are the face of their financial business. And I've just found that I really enjoy to like be somebody's voice. I would rather
Hmm.
do that, like step in, get to be their voice when they need like websites, emails or sales Excuse me, I'm choking. Randomly. Okay, excuse me. I'm gonna take a sip out of my giant
Yeah,
water
take a sip of
bottle.
water.
Woo, okay. I don't know where that came from, but we're having a great time. Also, um, so I realized that like I was kind of doing it already, and so many of my friends, when they would talk about like wanting to switch jobs, I would like give them personal branding advice. Whenever I'm
Mhm,
copywriting, I was giving somebody personal branding advice. When I'm on LinkedIn, I'm giving personal branding advice. Like it
mhm,
just became something that was so innate in the type of copywriting that I was doing already. And my goal is not to ever be someone's like LinkedIn ghostwriter. And that's where kind of the coaching comes in. Like I still want to be someone's copywriter for those big projects, but the
mhm.
coaching aspect, I want them to just kind of like get more comfortable being themselves. And it's hard for people to like write about themselves and talk about themselves. And so it's perfectly okay to like have a coach help you construct that, but then you take it and you use it and you go somewhere with it. So I hope that that answers your question. But for me, it just kind of seemed to make sense as a next step. And somebody called me a personal branding expert. And then I was like, all right, that's it. Like that's who we are now. We're switching into
Yeah.
that. So yeah.
Well, I think too, part of, trying to capture someone's voice, it's so important. So that just like goes hand in hand in personal branding. Like that was, if you're doing a website for someone or emails or whatever, you don't want it to sound like Juliet wrote it. You want it to sound like Chris wrote it.
100%. Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, and I
So
find oh, go ahead.
no,
I
go
was gonna
ahead. Go
say,
ahead.
I find so many small business owners when they, like, first try to write their website, they make it all, like, "we" or, like, "about us," and I'm like, "It's you." Like, people can see through it when you're trying to be, like, a bigger company, so, like,
Hmm.
just put your face out there and be yourself, and, like, that's how people are gonna choose to work with you when you're small. Like, sure, if you have 30 employees, I understand that maybe you don't wanna be the face of the brand anymore, but at the
Right.
beginning stages of a business, like, you have to be known for who you are and what you're about.
Hmm. 100%. And like you said, people can see through it. If I was to start saying we can do this and we can do that, people would laugh at me because they'll be like,
Yeah.
Chris, we know it's you, bro.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I do have a guy that does my video editing for me for my clients, but it's me. It's me that does everything.
Yeah. You just, like, put your hat backwards, and then you're
Yeah,
like, "Now
exactly.
we
Or
are
or
doing
I
this."
take it off and do a lot of head rubbing in the middle of working.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Um so what is kind of your take on personal branding? I know I kind of mentioned like your spin on it and how refreshing it is. So tell us like what your take. And before we go any further, like the first call I ever, well, the two calls I've been on with Juliet, like she showed up just like she was. It was early in the morning. Well, it was 8:30 for her. It was 7:30 for me. Um, Hoodie, just like she would spend her day, which I absolutely love because if I'm at home, you can bet your rear end I am not getting dressed up every day.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think,
Not that I
like
get dressed
and
up
I
for
mean, I
work
will
because
say
I wear a hoodie to work, but
yeah. Well, I will say it's, like, a miracle that I have some makeup on right now because usually well, I won't say usually, but there's plenty of times that I don't, and I think for me so we have an indoor camera at our house, and my husband would make fun of me because I would change my shirt, like, 4 times a day depending on who I had a meeting with. So it's like I'd start the day in the hoodie, but then if I had a meeting, I would put on, like, a nice blouse, and then after that, I'd be like, "This isn't comfy," so then I'd switch into, like, a t-shirt, and he was just like, "What are you doing?" And it's so ridiculous because if I was going into, like, a 9 to 5, I would just wear whatever I wore to work that day, but I
Mhm.
wanted to be comfortable, but I also wanted to, like, present well, and then I just one day was like, "You know what? I don't think anyone's gonna die if I wear a tie-dye t-shirt to a meeting,"
Mm-mm.
and so I just started
Nope.
doing that, and it was okay, and it was fine, and, I feel like women especially, like, we really get into our heads about, like, being made up and, like,
Mhm.
having earrings on and stuff like that for all of these meetings, and it's like, why do we keep putting this pressure on ourselves when collectively we're all sick of it? Like, and
Right.
and I don't know. Again, I know some people and I feel very strongly about this too. My message is for the people that have the autonomy to make these decisions for themselves. So I understand if somebody says like, well, if I walk into work in a hoodie and against dress code and without makeup on, my boss is going to be upset or whatever. Okay,
Right.
well then don't do that. Like I get it. Like you're working for
Right.
somebody else. But if you
Right.
have your own business and you're giving yourself anxiety trying to like show up for your audience all the time, then pick a better audience or let your audience like attract your audience by being yourself instead of trying to like Frankenstein yourself
Yeah.
into, you know, what your audience wants. And that's a huge thing in sales and copywriting. Everyone's talking about, you know, what does your audience want? But that's where you get all these like vanilla messages that are like, grow your sales and build your business. And everyone's message sounds the same. And I'm like, put some
Hmm.
personality into it, and then you'll get clients that you want. So
Yeah. I was actually
that's
talking
my
to a
take.
friend of mine about that today. I was on a Zoom call with her, and she's like, we were talking about the entrepreneurial journey or whatever, and just
Yeah.
everything that's happened. Cause it'd been a while since we talked. So I was catching her up on everything. And, she was like, have you thought about like writing about your journey? I was like, there's no way in hell I'm writing about the entrepreneurial journey. I said, everybody out there is doing it.
Yeah.
Like it's, to me, it's a saturated market. You know what I mean?
But it'll be different when you do it,
Well,
Chris.
that's true. You're absolutely right. It is
Yeah.
true. But yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I feel you. It depends. It's you have to be ready for it. And sometimes it takes a while to understand like what your own unique angle is and
mhm.
take your time. Like don't force it if you don't want to do
No,
it.
no, no. Especially since I feel like I'm figuring it out by the minute, you
Yeah.
know? It's not like it's a set in stone. Okay, I did this and it worked. It's okay. I did that and I
Yeah.
made $500. Let's see if I can duplicate it. You know
Yes.
what I mean?
Yes. Oh yeah. No, I totally feel that. I like last year in December, my business like totally died. And I was like, okay, well, it's been fun. And then January came and it was crazy busy again. And then this year I was a little bit more prepared. But it was still a little weird to see everything. I don't know. This year it didn't like die, but it felt like a revolving door of people being like, oh my goodness, I need this right now. Never mind, I'll wait till January. Oh my goodness, I need this right now. I'm gonna pay the deposit immediately. And then like it was just that back and forth like every other day. I'm
Mhm.
like, all right, I don't know what we're doing, but as long as we're in business, then we're good. Also, I just want to say in the comments so far, like I hear you women that are talking about like, yes, why are we forcing ourselves to wear earrings
Yeah,
and all that jazz? So you have such a good crowd here. I love
I
these
know it.
people.
And I am, and I would much rather anyone, man or woman, show up how they're comfortable because
Yeah,
I'm going to. And because if
yeah,
we work together, I'm not gonna, be wearing a suit and tie while I'm running your show behind the scenes or while we're in a
yeah.
coaching session, or I'm gonna be wearing a t-shirt and a ball hat and probably have a dip in my mouth because it's just how I
Yeah.
roll. Um, so that's
And it
how I'm
lets
gonna
the
show
other
up.
person be comfortable. Yeah, it lets the other person be comfortable to do that too
Yeah.
and be themselves, and then everybody's happy, and, like, the first time that I went to an in-person event with, like, ripped jeans, I was like, "Everyone's gonna remember me," like and I'm the type
Right.
of person that, like, I don't even care if they think it's for a bad reason, I'm just like, "You're gonna remember me, and when I talk about what I talk about, like, they're gonna understand that I know my stuff."
Yeah.
Because I think for me, it was just like because you would think that being a writer that other writers are more creative looking, but like they're generally not. They're still very like, you know, businessy or business casual.
Hmm.
Um, and I was like, I don't get this and I don't want to do it. So anyway, I just decided I can write no matter what I'm wearing. So I'm gonna wear what I want.
Yeah. And I can't, I don't think, as far like just take creativity for instance, like making these overlays and the intro and all that kind of stuff. That's not something that comes easily to me. Like I
Yeah.
have to think hard to do that and redo it and look and get people's opinions and all this stuff. I'm getting better at it. Like I'm honing it, but still. So if I was to like try and do that stuff while I was wearing slacks and a button down, it's not happening.
Yeah.
I think it
Yeah.
helps too with the creativity and whatever it is that you're doing. If you're comfortable, the stuff's just going to kind of flow out of you more or less.
Yes.
Easier anyway.
Yes. Yeah. I totally agree. I agree with that. And I'll even like take my laptop to the couch and I'll just put on like a TV show and just let it play in the background and I'll have like the best writing spurt that I've ever had just because my brain is like engaged in a different way.
Right. I'm saying hi to a couple people here.
Hello, hello.
We had a couple people join us. Julia Dombeck. I think I just connected with her recently. I think. I hate that. Like I always feel bad when I see somebody I don't know. I'm like, are we connected? Have we connected? I think
Yeah.
we have.
I'm the person
Uh,
that like will technically remember someone's name, but I'll be afraid that I'll get it wrong. And so I'll just be like, "Hey, friend." Like,
I know it.
"Hey, buddy."
Yes. Hey, there's my
"Hey,
sister.
buckaroo." "Sister, hi."
Yeah. Hey, Kara. So I actually did that. I don't know if you know. Are you connected with Kirsten Granados? She like talks about
Probably.
TikTok all the time. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, you did, Julia.
See,
That's
if
right.
I saw a post of hers, then I would
Yeah,
know.
you would know
But
exactly.
yeah.
She was on the show last year. No, no, she was on the show the end of 21.
Okay.
The end of 21, the end of my first season.
Yeah.
And it's Kirsten Granados for the
Okay.
entire show. The entire show. And I was doing 1 hour shows then. The entire show, I called her Kirsten.
Oh no.
And after it was over, she was like, "Hey, by the way, it's Kirsten. Keer is
Oh,
how it's pronounced." And I was
yeah.
like, "Why didn't you tell me that
Yeah.
at the beginning?
Somebody yeah.
Somebody please tell
Somebody
me if I'm saying your name wrong."
I will say, somebody introduced me on a podcast one time and they said my last name wrong, which is fine because like everybody does, but I did correct them on it. And then they were like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry." But I don't know. I'm like, I'd rather you know at the beginning and then I don't know. But I will
Yeah.
say my best friend, I don't know why I did this to her one time, but she just turned to me and was like, "Hey Juliet, do you whatever?" And I said, "Did you just call me Juliet?" And the look on her face of pure terror that like we've known each other for like 8 years and she was just like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "I'm just kidding. You know my name is Juliet." And she was like, "You really just got me." Like I
Oh, you
don't know
just
why.
got
I just get you too?
yeah, because our first conversation, I remember asking, "All right, is it Juliet or is it Juliet?" Because I was thinking ETTE is kind of a common spelling of it, the Juliet. I didn't know if it. And then I asked you how to pronounce your last name, and then you just started that story. I was like, "Did I really ask her that? Is that a false
No.
memory? I've been calling
No,
her
you got my
Juliet
name.
for okay."
Yeah, you got my name right, but I just decided to mess with my best friend one time
That's
and was like, "Did you
awesome.
just call me Juliet?" And she was like, "What?" That's what I do. Just gotta
Right.
throw people off sometimes. But yeah.
All right. So tell people about, let me put this thing up here. The quiz. Let's talk about the
The
quiz.
quiz. Okay, you guys. So yourpersonalbrandcoach.com/quiz. This is a personality, well, I don't know if you'd call it a personality quiz because it's not like the Enneagram or something, but it's a quiz to see how personal your personal brand really is. Because what gets on my nerves about most personal brand assessments is they're testing like how image focused your personal brand is. Like
Mm-hmm.
it'll be like, is your headshot updated or whatever. I want to
Right.
know if your headshot like reflects who you are. So take the
Right.
quiz. It's really fun. If you like New Girl, there's a New Girl gif at the very beginning. But I like to just like personal brand, it's about being yourself and your brand and being personal.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're kind of wondering like what does that mean? Because I feel like a lot of us think like I talked about my coffee this morning and I'm relatable. Like I've been personal now, so I checked it off.
Right.
Like that's not what I'm looking for. Like I'm looking for, does your audience know like fun things about you? Do you have like a crazy nickname that we need to know about? Like stuff like that. So it's a
Right.
it's a super short and fun quiz. And it'll get you on my email list. So you won't be swooped in there. But I
It'll
have fun emails.
automatically, after you get done with it, it'll automatically put them in the email list.
Yes, so they'll get
Nice.
instant results, they'll get emailed results. If you wanna unsubscribe because you don't wanna be friends with me, go right ahead. My feelings will not be hurt. Well, they actually will be, I should be honest. But it's fine. If you don't wanna be on my email list, at least wait till Monday. Like, wait till next Monday and see how fun my Monday email is.
So
Chris
yes, listen,
will
y'all. I
yeah,
have been.
listen, y'all.
I went through. Yeah, sorry, Ariel. I didn't mean to take your hashtag there. Listen, y'all. So I went through a little spurt the end of last year where I was like unsubscribing from all kinds of people. Um, I did not unsubscribe from Juliet's. It was because it's like a breath of fresh air on Monday morning. Like
Yeah.
it's fun, it's relatable, it's witty. It's like you feel like you're sitting in your office or living room with you having a conversation, and like there's no sales pitches and it's just fun. And then she was like, hey, you can respond to these and we can be friends. And I was like, oh,
Chris responds to every email I send.
every email, even if it's with
Every
just a
single
GIF.
email. Yeah, every single
Yes.
one. So yeah, I mean, take the quiz. If you want to stay in my emails, we'll be best friends. You can reply. And to be really honest, I feel like in the entrepreneur world, like we're so disconnected already. And I mean, I know we can scroll on social media and whatever, but like email, it's just a nice little like comfy, cozy corner. So come be comfy in my cozy corner, I guess is what I'm saying.
It is. And I
And
need to
luring
talk
people
about
in.
that more. I need to say that more in my emails. Hey, you can respond. I said it in my post Friday
Yes.
because I'm terrible about telling people to sign up for my email list. So I did a post Friday or something about it.
Yeah.
And I said something about, you can actually respond and we can become, I don't remember what I said. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's fun when people do that.
I need to start responding to yours more. I
Yes,
always
you
think
do.
about it
Not
in
that
my
it's
head.
tit for tat,
I
but
know. I know. No, but every time I'm like, I loved this. See, I think the thing is I'm gonna respond with every email and say like, I loved this email because I love your emails too. But then that's like all I think about saying is I just love this email. So, but you know what? I can say that. That's
you can
allowed.
say that. Yeah, it will make my
You
day.
probably won't get tired of it. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So we'll be email buddies forever. You know what? We should do an email challenge for like. I mean, I'm not saying we have to because this is live, but well, let's talk offline about doing an email challenge to like set a goal of getting like new email subscribers because I feel like that would be really fun.
It would be fun.
You're not convincing me.
No,
You seem like
I'm
that's another
thinking.
thing on my plate. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
And
I
then we
feel
can have
like,
like a
I'm going
reward.
to get my ass handed to me, but that's okay.
No. Well, you could. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. But I don't know, but my ass might be handed to me. So I don't know. But
Yeah.
like I just feel like that could be something that would be fun to do.
Yeah. It would be fun.
I
We
will
should do
say
that.
though, you did get me back because I was like, Chris, you don't have an email sign up thing. And then before this podcast, you were like, Juliet, where's your email sign up thing? And I was like, oh no, I
I was
lost it
trying.
because I
Yeah,
was
it was
changing all my
gone.
links over. Yeah. So, even email people aren't perfect.
Yeah, I was trying to drop the link to your email sign up page in the comments of the promo post I did last week. And
Yeah.
so I went to your website and was trying to find it. And I was like, it's blank.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
You're like,
not
you're not
there.
telling me. Yes. And that's what I did to you because I was going to like promote you like very organically, by the way, because I don't do sketchy stuff. But anyway, I think my post was even like, I was just like, Chris has a great personal brand. Everybody should get on his email list. And then I couldn't find your email list. And then I did. So anyway.
Yeah. Well, I built a landing page because I'm like the whole website thing is new to me and landing pages are new to me and trying to figure out my email system is new to me. So it's, figuring it out baby steps. So I figured out a landing page and I was like, hey, I just have this landing page and I can drop the link in it and people can go sign up. Well, then you said you need to have that on your website.
Yes.
So then I had to figure out how to integrate Aweber into the website, which ended up being really super easy to do.
Yeah.
So now it's on my website too.
Yeah.
So if you want to go sign up for my email list,
go sign up for Chris's email. Yeah, do it.
hitproductions.live. It's like the second section. It's a one-page website. So it's like the second section or something. Live stream tips. Very rarely do I try to sell you anything. I'll tell you about something I have coming up, but I just give live stream tips. That's all I do.
It's a good time.
And look, y'all, I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel. I just remembered this now that I have that up. I'm going to try growing my YouTube channel this year and try to do some different things with it, I think. So if y'all want to go subscribe, it's at Hit Productions Live is my YouTube handle. I would greatly appreciate it. That would be awesome. Thank you. What else do we got?
Dusty Rose said, did we become best friends? And I don't know if she's best friends with me or best friends with you.
I think it's probably you because we've been friends for a while.
Yay.
So it's probably
you know what? I got to see. Do I do a good heart with my hands? I don't.
So bring your thumb down a little bit more. Your thumb down. There you go. That's a bit better.
Okay.
It looks like
I'm going to have to practice this. Why? Oh, there we go. Is that better? Sorry. Because I do this like when I'm feeling good, and I shouldn't because it doesn't look good on video. I just realized, like, I'll be, like, in a discovery call and say someone will say something really sweet, and I'll be like, "Oh, I love that," and now I'm realizing that they're probably like, "What is she doing that? Yay, Jesse's friends with
Yeah,
me." I'm
yeah,
so
shoot.
glad. I don't remember why we became best friends, but I'm glad that we did. I like the
Yeah,
rose. Oh, Jesse Rose. Duh, that
yeah.
makes sense. I just things
Right.
are not clicking anymore for me today. It's been a long day.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Real quick, let's do some end of show announcements, and then we'll let you kind of close it out. If you have anything else you want to say, next week I have Nicole Frazier. Nicole is a faith-based coach too, or not two, like two, because you're a coach. I've got a lot of coaches this year, mainly because I like working with coaches. I like hearing their stories and how they got into what they're doing. It interests me, so that's the kind of people I bring on. Nicole Frazier will be here next week, and I am probably in the second quarter, so sometime in April, going to bring back Ending the Stigma. So I'll shut. It got too much to do 2 shows a week. There's a lot that goes into it. I have to be on for that, and so when you're trying to do that and then also do a side hustle in the evenings, it got to be a lot. So I cut Ending the Stigma out for a while. I'm gonna bring it back though, I think in April, because I really miss doing that one. I don't know if you're familiar with it. I talked to people that have either been in prison and gotten out and are doing good, or they work with somebody that, an organization that helps people coming out of prison. Um, Anything that has anything to do with somebody having been in prison or been in addiction or whatever, because that's kind of my background. And it's something that's very near and dear to my heart. So we just have those kind of conversations about it. Hitproductions.live, click the merch button, y'all. Go buy some merch. There's new merch designs coming. I'm not going to tell you what they are. One of them, they're both hilarious. Y'all are going to love them. I love them. I can't wait for them to hit the store so I can buy some. And I think that is it. Juliet, you have anything else you want to say before we go?
I'll just say I did watch your Ending the Stigma episodes, so I'm also
Okay.
going to endorse those. And
Okay.
so, yeah, you guys watch those. That and to be honest, that's like one of the things that I feel like stood out to me about you at the beginning was that you had that like loud and clear on your
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn. So I'll just say I'm glad to have some new besties, and I'm just really glad that you had me here. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. It was a blast. I enjoyed it absolutely very much. Yeah, Krista, merch. Krista has merch in the merch store too.
Oh, that's
Um,
awesome.
yep. All right, y'all. I think that's it. We will see y'all next week at 7 o'clock.